Everyone suspected the stranger, until investigators looked closer at the family. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy stories that unravel the truth piece by piece, because sometimes the truth is darker than anything we imagine. The sirens echoed across Hawthorne Ridge, a quiet suburban neighborhood where people still left their doors unlocked and waved at neighbors they barely knew. That morning, everything changed. A jogger had found a teenage girl lying near the edge of the woods, alive but unconscious, her clothes dusty and torn, her breathing shallow. It was 16-year-old Mia Ross, a familiar face to everyone in town. She was the kind of girl who smiled at strangers and stayed late after school to help teachers organize textbooks. No one understood how someone like her could end up there. Within an hour, a patrol car, detectives, and anxious neighbors crowded the scene. Officer Daniels, a calm and seasoned investigator with 20 years of experience, examined the area carefully. There were tire marks on the dirt path, footprints, a discarded paper coffee cup, and just beyond the brush, a set of footprints leading deeper into the woods, larger, heavier steps. Rumors spread fast. People whisper about a man who had recently moved into the old Miller house at the end of the street. A man no one knew. A man who didn't talk much. A stranger. His name was Evan Cole. He kept to himself, rarely came outside, and did not attend local gatherings like everyone else in the neighborhood did. It didn't take long for suspicion to bloom. The townspeople pointed fingers before the police even began questioning him. By afternoon, news trucks were already circling like vultures. A neighborhood built on trust turned into a hive of fear and blame. Officer Daniels and Detective Harper knocked on Evan's door. He answered calmly, holding a mug of coffee, wearing a faded gray t-shirt and jeans. He didn't seem nervous, just tired. When they asked where he had been that morning, he said he was home alone, preparing for work. No alibi, no witnesses. And when Harper glanced around his living room, she noticed something that made her freeze. A map of the neighborhood pinned on the wall, with several routes highlighted. One of them led directly to the area where Mia had been found. Evan saw their reaction and immediately spoke. "I run those routes. I'm new here. I've been trying to learn the town. I can show you the fitness tracker on my phone. My runs are logged." His voice didn't shake. He didn't hesitate. But that didn't matter. The neighborhood already decided he was guilty. Fear has a way of simplifying stories, replacing facts with comfort, and blaming the outsider was comforting. But Mia was stabilized at the hospital, and when she woke up, her first word wasn't a name. It was a whisper, a single word that sent chills through the room. Home. Detectives leaned in. "What do you mean, Mia? Who did this?" Her eyes filled with tears before she spoke again. Home. It happened at home. Not the woods. Not somewhere far away. Not with a stranger. Her home. Officer Daniels exchanged a look with Harper. A look that meant everything they thought they knew about this case had just changed. The suspect everyone feared might not be a suspect at all. And the real danger might be much closer, behind a door no outsider would think to question. As the detectives drove toward the Ross family house, something darker began to take shape in their minds. Because if Mia was telling the truth, then someone inside that home wasn't who they pretended to be. And they were still there. The Ross house stood at the end of Willow Run Lane, its white shutters and trimmed hedges giving it the appearance of stability, peace, and suburban comfort. But as Officer Daniels and Detective Harper walked up the driveway, the air felt heavier, as if the house itself were holding its breath. They knocked, and after a moment, Daniel Ross, Mia's father, opened the door. His eyes looked exhausted, dark circles underlining a face that hadn't slept in days. Or maybe hadn't slept for reasons other than worry. He ushered them in politely, offering coffee, speaking in a calm but distant tone. His wife, Laura, hovered near the staircase, clutching a sweater close to her chest. The house was quiet, too quiet. No television, no background noise, just a ticking of wall clock that seemed louder with every passing second. Harper watched the parents closely. Their grief felt rehearsed, polished, like they were performing for an audience they had practiced for. Daniels began gently. "Mia woke up today." She spoke a little. Laura's eyes widened, not with relief, but with fear. What did she say?" she asked, her voice thin. Harper watched the mother's hands tremble, not just emotionally, but physically. Daniel, however, stayed still, too still. He set his coffee down and folded his hands. "She said it happened at home," Daniels replied. A long silence followed. No denial, no shock, no confusion, just stillness. Then Daniel exhaled slowly. "Our daughter has been through something traumatic. We don't know what she thinks she remembers." His voice sounded controlled, too controlled, like someone trying to bury something already halfway exposed. Harper's gaze shifted to a hallway at the end of the living room. A narrow door, a door that looked recently repainted, the white slightly brighter than the surrounding trim. She stepped toward it. Daniel's tone changed instantly. "There's nothing back there. It's storage." But fear flashed in his eyes. Daniel spoke plainly. "We're going to need to look around." Laura stepped forward. "Please don't." "Not yet. We haven't even." But Harper was already opening the door. The hallway beyond it was dim, the air noticeably colder. A set of stairs led downward into a basement. The kind of basement that didn't exist in the floor plans the neighborhood was built with. The house had been modified, privately. Harper clicked on her flashlight and descended. The deeper she went, the more the sound from upstairs faded until there was only silence. When her feet reached the concrete floor, she saw it. A room within the basement, built crudely but intentionally. A single light hanging from the ceiling. A narrow mattress. A metal chair bolted to the floor. Straps. She froze. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't a random attack. This was controlled. Behind her, Daniel shouted her name from upstairs. She turned back toward the stairs, only to hear Laura crying and Daniel shouting something she couldn't make out. Panic surged through the house like electricity. Then, a slam, a scuffle, a crash. Harper rushed back upstairs to see Daniels wrestling with Daniel Ross, who had tried to run. Laura was on the floor sobbing, repeating the same phrase over and over. "We tried to fix her. We tried to fix her. We tried to fix her." Harper handcuffed Daniel as he struggled and shouted. "You don't understand. She was out of control. She needed discipline. This family needed control." His voice wasn't the voice of a grieving father. It was the voice of someone who believed their cruelty was justified. But then Harper stopped, because something was missing. Where was Mia's older brother, Ethan? The basement wasn't the crime scene. The basement was a shelter. Whoever Mia was trying to get away from was still out there. The search for Ethan Ross began before the sun rose the next morning. Officers swept through Hawthorne Ridge with drones, K-9 units, and roadblocks. But the quiet suburban town, once so predictable, now felt like a maze filled with shadows. No one knew where Ethan was, only that he had left sometime during the night. And unlike his father, Ethan had never stood out. He was polite, soft-spoken, and nearly invisible in the way people who are used to hiding tend to be. Officer Daniels retrieved Mia's belongings from her room, looking for anything that could explain the truth. Inside her journal, they found entries that painted a chilling reality. Ethan had been controlling her for months. Not physically at first, emotionally, manipulation disguised as protection, encouragement that slowly turned into authority, praise that became surveillance. He isolated her from friends, monitored her conversations, and convinced her that their parents were weak and the world outside was dangerous. The basement wasn't where Mia was hurt. The basement was where she hid, where she escaped him. The father had discovered the situation too late. Instead of seeking help, he tried to cover it to preserve the family's reputation. The mother simply obeyed. And Mia, young, trapped, terrified, had finally run. Ethan chased her into the woods. But something had interrupted him. Something that left her unconscious. Something that let her live. The missing piece clicked into place when Detective Harper replayed the security footage from a gas station near the woods. There was another car, Evan Cole's. The stranger, the outsider, the man the entire town had already condemned. The footage showed him stepping out his car, spotting Mia stumbling toward the woods, and carrying her out. He didn't harm her. He saved her. Yet, that wasn't what stunned Harper the most. Evan didn't just happen to be there. He saw something in the trees. A silhouette. Someone watching. Ethan. Harper realized something chilling. Ethan didn't run because he was hiding from police. He ran because he had been planning to leave long before Mia escaped. A bag of supplies was missing from the Ross home. Maps, cash, fake identification. This wasn't a sudden unraveling. This was a plan. But even plan men make mistakes. That evening, a deputy reported that a car matching Ethan's description was spotted at the abandoned greenhouse near the county line. Officers converged, surrounding the glass building fractured with moss and ivy. Daniels called out warnings, but there was no response. Inside, Ethan stood in the center of the greenhouse, sunlight filtering through the cracked glass in thin beams. He wasn't holding a weapon. He wasn't running. He simply stared, calm, too calm. "You all made me into a monster," he said quietly. "I was trying to make her strong. I was trying to show her the world is cruel before it destroys her." Daniel stepped forward slowly. "You didn't protect her. You broke her." Ethan didn't fight when they took him. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He just smiled. A small, cold, indifferent smile, like someone who believed he was still right. Mia recovered. Slowly. Her voice fragile. Her trust fractured. Her parents faced charges for neglect and aiding abuse. Ethan was convicted, his expression blank as the judge read the sentence. But the town would never be the same. For months, the houses on Willow Run Lane kept their doors locked. Curtains stayed drawn. Conversations kept short, because the truth was worse than any rumor. It wasn't a stranger. It was one of their own. And in the quiet, uneasy evenings, neighbors still glanced at the old Miller house, the one everyone mistrusted. Evan Cole moved away shortly after. Sometimes, innocence looks like a threat, and sometimes the threat lives right behind your own front door. If this story stayed with you, trust me, the next one goes even deeper.